Okay, welcome, Marko.
Thank you.
Welcome to our kind of episodes Meet the Customer. And you, as CEO of Trader, we work together for now many years. But I would like to show to the audience who is Marko and what is your background in aviation and how you started to work in this industry.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. Well, Marko is a pilot at heart, aviation aficionado, as it's used to say, which followed his father's steps since when I was a kid, watching him going for flights and trying to follow his path in aviation career. Later on, the situation brought me to grow up as a pilot, but also to start managing the company. First assisting my father running the operations department for many years, and later on taking over the role of the accountable manager, taking more responsibilities over the finances, sales, organization as such.
So basically your father brought you into aviation when you were little?
Yeah.
Did you fly a lot with him back then?
No, not very much. Actually, he was not even sure. He didn't really push me into that, but it was more my desire to follow him. Later on, he was glad that I did. And but he was also always telling me, do not stop being a pilot, only try to pursue a more academic degree. And he also pushed me to talk me into going for MBA, which is the economic course.
So you mixed your kind of aviation background with economics, so you can run the company.
Of course.
After your father.
It helped me a lot later on. Yeah.
And when your father founded the company?
The company was founded back in 1995. So now in a few days we are going to celebrate 31 years since the first flight. Yeah, quite some time for a small airline. And generally through the history of the company, we managed to do good decisions, which showed, we managed to pretty much grow steadily through the years. Didn't do too many mistakes.
But in 1994 you said?
1995.
1995, okay. So, but it was after the war?
After the war, yeah. We originally started as a cargo carrier. We were flying DHL flight Zagreb to Bergamo for 12 years. But the aspiration of the company was to introduce passenger transport, and we did so as of 2005 when we acquired two Fokker 100 aircraft. And we operated Fokkers, I think the last one was in 2019. Through 2015, 2016, we made a decision to go for a different aircraft type because slowly the time of the Fokker 100 was passing by. So we decided for the Airbus 320. And nowadays we operate a fleet of 5 320s, which we own, and we operate through Europe, Middle East. We have a wide area of operations.
Yeah, I think it was a good decision.
It was. Yeah.
But can we go a little bit back? I'm curious, like when you actually took over as accountable manager of the company.
Don't know exactly the date. It was around 2018 or so. But I was doing a lot of decision making from 2010 onwards on my own. I was sitting for almost 10 years with my father at the same table, watching him how he handles all kinds of issues which are normally brought up daily in front of you, from organizational, operational, financial, a normal business that's going on, all the issues that you have to handle in a company. And then watching him, I was learning which things I would do differently, which things I would follow his steps, and when my time was on to take over, I was ready, I think.
Yeah, of course, after those years, I think you learned a lot.
I did.
Yeah. How you would characterize him? Was he very business oriented? Had a good nose to make business?
He was always working for the other airlines until a setup of Trader, and it was a new experience for him as well. It was an academic person and professional person. He changed a couple of careers. He was in the maritime transport initially, then in air traffic control as tower controller and area controller. Then he was a helicopter pilot, ultimately airline pilot. So he made a lot of careers.
Diverse career. Yeah.
Diverse. He was also an academic professor, and he was teaching at the University of Transport occasionally.
But he always had in himself that he wanted to open for his own airline?
Yes, this was always his idea, his wish, but it was difficult, and it was, yes, it was his wish, but it sometimes somehow materialized slowly in those mid-1990s. At the end of the war in Croatia that we had here, DHL was looking for a carrier to connect between Croatia and Italy. And my father offered to set up an airline which will carry those parcels, and because he had the know-how, he had, as mentioned, professional and academic degree, and he had the knowledge how to set up such an airline, and he was given a chance by the DHL at the time.
Okay, so that was the connection with cargo, basically, because he had already a customer. I see. And then the rest is history, basically.
The rest is history, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very proud as a Croatian that you guys built an airline in our country that is operating for so long.
Thank you.
I'm very lucky to be able to meet you and to know you personally. And you're kind of inspiration also to us younger guys that are building companies in Croatia. But can you tell me what were your challenges in that period that when you took over from 2018? And
well, everybody knows of COVID. It was quite a challenge. It was a big test for many airlines. Many airlines did not survive it, but I'm proud that we did, and actually we managed to even expand in this period. Other challenges was, how to acquire the aircraft, limited funding. Being a small company, it's not easy to get crediting to acquire an A320 type of aircraft. But we managed to get over it through different sources, collaboration with local banks, with lessors who offered us arrangements to acquire the aircraft through them and so on.
Yeah, but, I remember that period. Actually, we started working together from 2018, and you were the only airline, I think, who even kept paying the bills during the COVID time, which was remarkable. So it shows the resilience of the company also.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. And what is your plan in the future for Trader? Because you're now ACMI operator and you are really expanding. Your services are quite demanded.
Yes, well, we have a customer base of around 60 airlines that we've worked so far on the ACMI terms. We are not exclusively the ACMI carrier. We also do a certain percentage of full charter operations. We are present in Slovenia, having one aircraft permanently based there in Ljubljana, flying for tour operators of Slovenia to Greek islands, Turkey and Egypt. We also carry the designation of the national carrier of Slovenia, which we requested in order to get traffic rights granted by Turkish authorities, which sometimes do not allow operators of third countries to operate between Slovenia to Turkey and so on. My wish is to further expand in this airline business. I do not have aspirations to grow the company too big. Rather to keep it mid-size and to rejuvenate the fleet every few years, to replace the oldest aircraft with a younger aircraft and stay in such area.
I mean, for me, you are kind of interesting to see how you can actually acquire an aircraft in a really good position for your company, that the aircraft becomes cheaper. You're waiting, and then you decide to buy it. What is the secret of that kind of business?
First of all, I learned how to evaluate the aircraft, how to recognize the airframes, the engines, the valuation of the asset.
But it's a lot of knowledge.
It is. It's a mix of technical and commercial knowledge that I had to acquire. I learned from different sources, and I'm grateful to the people that brought me there. And then it's like acquiring a used car. You have to wait for the opportunity to show up, and it shows up every now and then you have to be ready. Financially ready, organizationally, to to grab the.
You're like waiting for the prey, kind of.
True, kind of, yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can maybe discuss, that in the COVID time you actually grew the number of aircraft. So maybe you can explain us how you managed in COVID time to take.
Yes, in 2020, 21, and 22, we acquired 3 aircraft, 1 year each, and it was an opportunity. My philosophy is that we as a society, we cannot live on a 2-meter separation from each other with the masks on our faces. And my gamble, my decision was to try to acquire the aircraft which were favorably priced at the time and under favorable terms, and get them into our fleet. And that paid off because market, the fear from COVID disappeared relatively quickly. And we acquired the aircraft which are nowadays a valuable asset in our fleet.
So you currently have 5 aircraft in the fleet. Like,
yep.
What is like in the next 2-3 years? Would you expect to increase it?
We like the 320. We are generally looking to stay in a 320 fleet. It's a good aircraft technically, commercially. Probably we will stay in this area of 5-6 aircraft. I do not have any significant wish to overgrow the company. Yeah, and we will see. The business opportunities on the market will show if we will change the type or whatever.
Okay, and now we can a little bit switch to the safety side.
Okay.
Yes, you were one of the first actually airlines that kind of invested in our product for safety, but can you tell me in general what is your stand on safety as a CEO or accountable manager, and how you look at it a trader, the safety kind of situation?
Well, safety of the operations is imperative. There is no cost on safety in terms of an accident if the accident happens. So definitely we are trying to run our operations, our maintenance, our whole system on a high safety possible level that we can. Now, it's not easy sometimes, sometimes you have tricky flights, sometimes you have to balance risk. This is what the risk assessments are done for. It's not always everything in green, but we effectively manage safety risks on pretty much all the flights that we do. Yeah,
but I have a feeling that you are also personally more active in safety than maybe other accountable managers. Yeah.
I am. I'm trying to follow the situation on many markets, politically, military-wise, to know where we are going, where we are headed, especially on ad hoc single flights, but also in long-term operations as well.
And in terms of technologies, you are also interested in that part always, from what I got from you. What do you see technology-wise, how aviation is changing? Not necessarily just safety, but with artificial intelligence and all these new emerging technologies, what do you see here difference in aviation?
Well, aviation is investing a lot into new technologies. I mean, technology-wise, the last 10 years brought, first of all, many tools in the cockpits in the aircraft, but also in the offices where we are doing analysis to upgrade our operations as such. There are new technologies coming further on as well, and which are going to improve safety and operations as well.
Okay, we can then a little bit go back to you.
Okay.
Okay. Do you miss flying more because you are now accountable manager, so I guess you fly less?
I do. I fly like 350, 400 hours a year.
Oh, okay, it's a lot.
Yeah, I like to fly. Airbus is a very nice aircraft to fly. It's a pilot's aircraft. It satisfies my desire to fly. But yes, I do not fly as much as my colleagues do, and I miss it occasionally. Yeah. But it's a good balance. I think if I was only in the cockpit, and then it would be probably too much. If I was only in the office, it would be, on the other hand, too much as well. Yeah. So I'm balancing it, and it works.
And what are your favorite destinations to fly into?
I like long flights. I like 4-hour, 5-hour flights. Sometimes a bit demanding. When you have to think of many aspects from remote area operations. Or some tricky weather, you know, thunderstorms that you have to avoid. I like actually sometimes to, when things are out of standard a bit, then the challenges is you know, it makes you think. You do not take it as a routine flight.
But can you give me some kind of situation you had that was not a routine, that was interesting to share?
I mean, a typical scenario during summer is when you have a thunderstorm over your destination, and then will you hold, will you divert, how long will you wait for the weather improvement? Last summer I was approaching Ljubljana from Greece, and you know, MARF is low, a heavy thunderstorm over Ljubljana. First of all, we were thinking to wait, but we obviously concluded that it's not going to help. We cannot wait so long, so we had to divert to Zagreb, refuel, wait for it to pass, and then return back to the destination.
And the passengers, they...
Well, we communicated with them. We explained the situation. Everybody was quite okay. So just, you know, it's not an ordinary A to B flight. It's something, you know, that goes out of normal.
I have a feeling like it's interesting for you guys, pilots. When
it is. I mean, not that we like it, you know. Yeah. It's just, yeah, makes you feel that you are really involved into it. It's not a routine thing.
Yeah, it breaks the routine a little bit.
Breaks the routine a bit, yeah.
All of a sudden you have to go to Zagreb.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And maybe one of the last questions, what do you do in the free time when you are not inside aviation?
I have 2 kids. 11 and 9. I'm trying to play around with them. I would like them to follow my steps, like I followed my father's steps. At this stage, they are too small. They are not into aviation at all. Time will show if they will be into it. Other than that, I like to explore, like to travel, you know, a lot, and that's it.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure to talk to you. And I hope to see you again in our conference. Yeah.
Thank you so much.